All right, without further ado, we have been gone for quite a while. Had some issues with YouTube and our screencasting software, and I gotta tell you, it can get pretty complicated. Maybe not for others, but I don't do this a lot. So, anyhow, gonna get us up to speed here. Let's take a look at the largest premise, big picture stuff. So we're talking about BTC having had this enormous run up all the way to 14,000, right into the reflection box, as well as right to the top of the new frame. Not going to go into that right now, but we are at the top of the new frame, knowing we needed to retrace. That took us back to the 9375. This is also the reverse frame shift line. From here, we need the 37.5% retrace back in this direction. That's the major theme. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the next chart that already has that drawn out for us. Let me get some of this data to load. But in any case, here we are with that reflection coming from here and then back down into blue. So the rally is in blue. The decline from 20,000 back down is in white. The reflection of the white downward bearish move is this box, and then the upward bull market that we've been in was this blue channel. The reflection for it down here, I will accentuate the reflection box slope here, extremely important. Discuss this briefly. Let's check that one up. All right, so as we can see, we retested the slope once, and we will probably do it again here. So major theme that we are looking for is to move higher in the frame up to about the 12,271 area. We're going to get into more detail than that, but what we really want to discuss here on this frame is just that we have a lot of time. This is October 19th. Market has been speeding up tremendously and covering tons of ground, and October 19th is actually when we are on time for the finishing of this move. Now, it may blast right by, but I just want to put perspective into how patient we have to really be now with a lot of our trades. If we don't see an extreme price, time-wise, we are way early, so time won't be there to help us to make any decisions in the large scale. In the large scale of things, the only thing that we should be doing if you were a major buy and hold trader is really to just continuously wait for 93.75 and buy along that line and then sell somewhere below this blue line until you get to beyond here, which is approximately September 5th. I'm sorry, the October 1st is on time. September 5th is the earliest version of on time, and until we get to approximately September 5th, September 6th, there's really not just a lot of trades other than repeating this buy and sell here, buy and sell here, and then this will become compressed and then eventually break out. And then once it does break out, of course, then buying long becomes much more safe, and you can feel pretty comfortable that the trend has resumed and that we would be going next to probably test the frame up here at 15,612. So we also have this particle line from way back here on December 18th or so of 2017. That particle line has been sitting up there forever, just waiting to get hit, and that particle line is at approximately 16,148. So for the first time, we're going to start marking out some boundary areas. Wanted to get the real basics. So we're in a bull market. We went right up to the top of the 62.5% box as expected. That is not. There we go. Following this move, the next reflection box takes us down into here, and the first resistance point or support point was here at 37.5%. And of course, this was the 98.74 line. So somewhere between 98.74 and 93.75 is where big value can be had. These are kind of shoe-in buys, safe buys. Keep launching the wrong tool. There we go. Let's get these swapped around. That will not happen anymore. Okay, so here's the extreme buy zone. We're going to zoom in again here in just a second. We're going to keep stretching out this data. All right. So familiar pattern we're very, very familiar with. It is a W, big W. So we're undergoing a large wave 4 here. If someone wanted to try to count this out and wanted to see what the Elliott wave count would look like, we do believe that one full move upward has been completed, so that should be 5 waves up. So we hope to see 5 waves up. This could be seen as wave 1 up to here, or possibly this spike. Technically and accurately, this spike is real, but it was HFT, so we may use this one. But let's just say we use the data that's provided. You got 1, and then the low looks to be maybe around here. That's 2. And then 3 takes you all the way up to here. And again, you got HFT here, but you've got the frame here. Let's just use the absolute there. And then this becomes 4. And then, of course, this becomes 5. And 5 was extremely extended. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Main theory here is that these two waves cannot overlap. And then oftentimes, too, you want to be able to see the 5 inside the extended waves. So if you've got an extended wave, which you do here, you'd love to be able to count out that 5 wave. We're going to try to do that now. Now, just for a minute, I'm going to remove this. Just kind of slide this off to the right so it's not encumbering the visibility. I'll tell you what, let's just put it back on for just 1 second so everybody can remember it. This is where we're counting wave 3 from. So this is wave 1, wave 2, and then wave 3 is from here to here. So in order to feel much more confident in our wave count, we need to count 5 waves between these 2 points. So we're going to remove this, kind of slide it, shift it upward, I guess, there. And we're going to try to count these 5 waves here. So the low is about here. So we got 1, 2, maybe we'll pick the low over here, 3, here's HFT 4, and then here is top of the wave, I think was here was 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then of course, just as before, we need no overlap here. You can see that is the indication that the teal blue line provides. It's just letting you know there's no overlap. Whenever we put this one back in, put that here, I'll tell you what, I'm just for clarity's sake, we're going to switch this back over, make it purple. Actually, no, we'll make it a little bit, so about yellow. There you go. And just like we had that separator line between 2 and 4, of course that exists here as well. It's, you know, so broad, no one can miss it there. The lack of overlap in wave 4. So let's jack this up a little bit here. And over here off to the right, we're just going to super highlight what we're talking about here. For everybody who's not familiar with Elliott wave, this is a classic Elliott wave pattern. This is 1 wave, 2 wave, then 3 wave. 4 wave does not overlap the previous peak of wave 1, and then it finishes with wave 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of these babies here is always able to be slipped right here, and you know that that is a constructive motive trend bearing wave. And so that is what we're trying to map out here. Why is that important? Because if we do see the 5 wave structure up, it gives a hint of the structure that follows afterward, which is a 3 wave down. 3 wave down looks like this: 1, 2, 3. And the wave 3 will usually violate here. It doesn't have to, but it could, it can, depending on what internal wave it's in. It could violate. We're going to turn this here red and turn this here green. Just kind of indicate what the colors represent there. So this is the basic Elliott wave pattern: 5 waves up, 3 waves down. Of course, what would follow after the 3 waves down? Well, it's 5 waves up. There you go. That's 5 waves up. And then what would follow the 5 waves up? Well, that's going to be 3 waves down. There we go. And the wave continues to build. However, the differentiation that occurs is that the self-similar pattern between the peak of wave 1 and an overlapping decline in wave 4, they can't overlap. So this creates a very distinctive acceleration that must be visible. So what does that mean? Well, that means that this can't be the next wave. The following wave can't be exactly like the first one. Why? Because it has to accelerate faster. If it does not, you are not moving in a trend, and you're not getting the higher prices that you need. So by the time you see wave 3, wave 3 has to go high enough up to then allow wave 4 to not overlap. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it ends in 5. And oftentimes, it may be the absolute steepest part of the wave. And this is the part of the wave that people see and take notice of. And usually it's really bunched up here. Something like this. And then it breaks out very, very, very steeply. And internally, of course, these can't overlap. So let me fix that there. Something like this. So it ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But the shape of each one of them is distinctly different. So here's what we have here. You can see that the 5th wave is the most accelerated wave. It rivals the acceleration in 3 of 3, but it is clearly, you can see the slope of this red line is almost 3 times the slope of what it is here in wave 3. So wave 1 has a pretty tight slope, but it's really short-lived. It's very small. Wave 3 looks pretty large, covers a lot of area, took a lot of time. And then wave 5 just, ends so quickly. This amount of time is really only from here to here, and it's maybe 1/10 of the size of the entire wave. It's very small. And when it gets up there, it's done. So the last step in the Elliott wave sequence, you can see here, happens very quickly. And then what follows afterward is the perfect example of what we're seeing now, which is, well, it's got to be a wave 3, some sort of wave 3, and then depending on where this reflection box is and other constraints where you are in the frame, it will shape what you see for wave 3. So just to give us an example of what that might look like, we're going to put this up here, and we're going to put this here, and we're going to basically say that, it may look, something like this. Usually it stretches out pretty bad. Actually, look at something like that. So this here is our wave 5 up, and then we expect to see wave 3 down. It could or could not fill in this whole area. It is not as it always seems in terms of proportion, but it possibly can. It is conceivable that we have a complex wave 3 pattern that repeats several times and gets us down as low as 6,204 roughly, but the reflection box is here, the long-term trend is here. Wouldn't be surprised to see it end somewhere above this, but it could go as low as 6,200. So we're going to go ahead and also map that. There we go. This kind of represents like very lowest prices that we would expect to see under any kind of extreme scenario. We really don't expect to see that. Here is slightly more probable. This is kind of like possibly in play, but this separator here is pretty powerful. We do believe that we're going to continue on and see the next wave unfold now. So we'll just have to wait and see kind of how that goes. It could take a long time. It may be a brief moment. We are not sure. I'm going to take a little bit of a look here in this area, see what we've got going on there, give people a little bit more picture. So this may seem kind of confusing. It's a big zoomed in area. It's got a lot of lines in it. Let me get rid of some of this stuff so that someone may have just a snowball's chance in hell of understanding what all this stuff is. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. And now we're looking at, the exact rally that we're in now. I'm going to actually stop here. We're going to pick back up on a different video. The first half of this video is definitely more about bringing us up to speed from having been off YouTube for 2 weeks. And I'll pick back up for a second video here. So tune back in if you need more detail about the current time period.